Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today in honor of the solstice, we are whipping up a winter solstice oil-free moisturizer. I definitely don't have anything against using oils in skincare, but I've had a lot of requests for an oil-free moisturizer, and I know that they do work better for some people, or some people just prefer them, and I'm really excited to share this formulation with you. Our oil-free oil phase features 3 ingredients. The primary emollient is Neossance Hemisqualane, which is made from sugarcane, and our emulsifier is Ritamulse SCG. I chose Ritamulse SCG because in addition to being a very effective and lovely emulsifier, it also boosts the moisturizing properties of formulations it's used in. The last ingredient in our oil-free oil phase, try saying that 10 times fast, is a natural dimethicone alternative to help ensure this formulation is really slippy and not sticky. For moisturizing ingredients, you'll find some lovely things like hyaluronic acid, vegetable glycerine, and a really neat blend of great moisturizing ingredients called Lipomoist 2036. If you'd like to learn more about Lipomoist or any of the other ingredients that I've used, please make sure you are looking them up in the Humblebee and Me encyclopedia and reading the partner blog post. For scent, I've included a small amount of rose hydrosol, which is an ingredient that has made an appearance in some of the other winter solstice themed formulations I've shared over the years. In an earlier version of this cream, I did try a bit of peppermint hydrosol. It seemed sort of fitting, you know, cool and wintry, but it was a little too refreshing, you know, right around like the eye, nose area. Even at just 15%, I just found it was like much. So while you don't have to use rose, I don't recommend using peppermint. If you would like to make this unscented, just replace the hydrosol with more distilled water. In addition to making this formulation oil-free, I also work to keep it more natural. So we have a natural emulsifier, we have a natural dimethicone alternative, and I've used Optiphen Plus as the preservative instead of my more commonly used Liquid Germol Plus. Because Optiphen Plus has a narrower effective pH range than Liquid Germol Plus, we do need to make sure that the product falls within that pH range. So I have baked that adjustment into the formulation, but if you are not making the formulation as written, you are going to want to test the pH of the formulation to make sure that it is within range and then adjust if it's not. Or failing that, use a preservative like Liquid Germol Plus that has a broader pH range. Making this is really simple. It's just like making any other lotion. If you want to learn more about this formulation, please make sure you are reading the partner blog post. It is linked in the description box below. And as always, you will find all kinds of extra information there, like substitutions, scaling, shelf life, links to places to buy all the ingredients, more information on the formulation choices, and a whole lot more. Well, come on, let's get started. We'll begin by combining the ingredients for our heated water phase in a small beaker. So in this small beaker, I already have 19.85 grams of distilled water. To that, I'm going to add 10 grams of a 1% low molecular weight hyaluronic acid solution. And for instructions on how to make this from pure hyaluronic acid, please make sure you are referring to the blog post. I have linked to an entire blog post that I did on how to make this solution. 7.5 grams rose hydrosol, 2.5 grams vegetable glycerin, and 0.05 grams citric acid, and make sure you have a very precise scale for this since it's a very potent ingredient. Up next, we will combine our heated oil phase in a second beaker. So you'll need 1.5 grams of Ritamulse SCG. This is our emulsifier, and if you need alternatives, please make sure you are referring to the blog post linked in the description box below. 1.5 grams LuxGlide N350, and again, read the blog post for substitutions. 3.5 grams Neossance Hemisqualane, and 0.25 grams hydroxyethylcellulose. Before we heat everything through, I'm going to pop the water phase on the scale and note that weight so we can replace any water that is lost to evaporation. To heat everything through, I'm going to use a water bath. So this is a wide flat bottom saute pan that has about 2 centimeters or 2/3 of an inch of water in it. And I'm going to go pop this on the stovetop over medium heat until everything in the oil phase has melted through, though do note that the hydroxyethylcellulose won't melt. So if you're looking at that and you see that and that hasn't melted, that's totally okay. And then to bring the water phase up to the same temperature. Once everything has heated through and melted, you can remove your water bath from the heat. So I'm going to begin by topping off the water phase. So we'll pop that on the scale there and then use a bit of preheated distilled water to bring that back up to the number we wrote down earlier. So to blend this together, because it is such a small batch, we are going to be using this little battery-powered mini mixer. You'll need to be careful to do it in a few short bursts before working up to a full blend so you don't spray product everywhere. So something that is special about this mixer is that it's a lot more powerful than your average milk frother, and that's because it takes 4 AA batteries rather than the sort of more typical 2. These are a bit hard to find now though. Lotion Crafter used to sell them, but they discontinued them. If you don't have a smaller, powerful mixer like this, it is a good idea to scale the formulation up to make a 100-gram batch so you can use your immersion blender instead. Because this is such a small batch, it is cooling down quite quickly. So I'm going to leave this for about 5 minutes and come back and check on it, but we should be able to incorporate our cool down phase quite soon. Right, it's been about 5 minutes, and this is sort of barely warm to the touch now, which is great. You can see we've got a bit of viscosity going on, so now we are ready to incorporate our cool down phase. There's just 3 ingredients in our cool down phase. We have 2.5 grams of Lipomoist 2036, and as always for substitutions, please make sure you are reading the blog post. We have 0.1 grams of allantoin and 0.75 grams of Optiphen Plus, and this is our preservative. So I'm going to just kind of do a little bit of mixing as we go. Usually, if I was not filming this, I would just weigh everything into the beaker, but I wanted to make sure you got to see everything. So I'm kind of doing that in there, and I'm gonna pop this in with the allantoin. There's just such tiny amounts of everything that I'm worried about ingredient loss if I'm trying to kind of scrape these little wee amounts into the big beaker. If you would like to learn more about allantoin and how to keep it from going grainy in formulations, I really recommend reading about it in the Humblebee and Me encyclopedia at humblebeeandme.com. Once everything has been incorporated and the mixture is lovely and smooth, all that's left to do is to package it up. Since this is quite a low viscosity product, I recommend packaging it in something with a treatment pump style top. So this is a lot smaller than a standard lotion pump and dispenses less, which is great. So this is from Yellowbee, and this holds 1 ounce, and this is more than 1 ounce. So there will be a bit of overflow, and I will store that in a jar so I can top this off and refill it as needed. Make sure you leave enough headroom in the container for the top. You don't want to have it kind of go bloop as soon as you stick it in and screw it down. And for a little bit of a demonstration, prime the pump, and out it comes. So it is, quite low viscosity, and it spreads really, really beautifully on the skin. So a little bit goes a very long way. And then it rapidly becomes invisible on the skin. Like it's really nice, really, really lightweight, low scent, and absolutely gorgeous. For a bit of a show and tell of an older version, you can see that it might gain just a titch of viscosity when it's left to sit, for a few days, but it's still quite a thin emulsion. So I don't recommend putting this in a tub or a jar or even a standard lotion pump, because it's just going to be a little bit too thin and can make a mess or result in a lot of product waste. And there we go. So we just made a really lovely winter solstice oil-free moisturizer. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and please make sure you are reading the full partner blog post for this formulation. It is linked in the description box below. There you'll find lots more information about it, information on substitutions, scaling, shelf life, links to places to buy all the ingredients, and a whole lot more. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.